recording. Hello friends, welcome to my channel on Dynamics 365 F&O solutions. In this session, I'm going to continue the product information management walkthrough. So far, we have seen more on products, how to create products, how to create trade agreements for a product, how to use a product in purchase order. We haven't discussed on product masters and product variants yet. So I wanted to start discussing about product masters. In F&O, as we all know that there are features that supports a product and product masters. Okay. So far I was sharing information about the product. Now I want to discuss about the product masters and how product variants are tied to a product master, and how to understand what is a product master and how to understand the need for a product master for our customers' business use scenarios. Okay. And once we understand the need for a product master or a product variant, it becomes easy for us to configure it accordingly to our customers' business needs. So the objective of this PPT session is more a concept on product masters and discuss the use cases for the product masters. Okay. Now let me get into the concept part. So far we have seen about the product, and now I just want to quickly now recollect how we define product and what is a product. The product, as we all know, that it is a uniquely identifiable product. It does not have any variance. It serves as a core product, and there are no dimensions for a product. Okay. The example I gave was a brake cable for a two-wheeler. Okay. This is a product which, of course, it doesn't have any variation. If I want to buy a two-wheeler brake cable, it's a core product that does not have any different in size, color or style, so on. So I can configure brake cable as a product. Now, having known what a product is, now let's see what is a product master. So before I start discussing about a product variant or product master, so I also want to remind you that when we create a product through product information management in F&O, a create products page, we selected a product subtype as product. Okay. Whereas when we create a product master, we will select a product subtype as product master. So when I select a product subtype as product, the product dimension group field will not be displayed in F&O page. So this is an important difference when we create a product and a product master. So now let me move on to the product variant. A product variant is also created through PIM, but through a different page called product master, and it can also be created through a release product page of F&O. Okay, there are two ways to create a product master. One is that you create directly through a product information management product masters, or you go to product information management release products, new release products. In that, you have an option to select the product subtype as either a product or a product master. Now, the next point is that what is a product master? It is a standard or functional representation of a product, which is a basis for configuring different variants to that. Okay. What is a variant? The variants could be of different types. Okay. The variants can be differentiated. The variants of a product can be differentiated in F&O by selecting a parameter called configuration technology. Okay. What's a configuration technology? I'll discuss about that very soon. A configuration technology is nothing but how you want to configure a product master. And there are three different ways to configure a product master. What are they? The different configuration technologies supported by F&O are a predefined variant, dimension-based configuration, and a constraint-based configuration. Okay. Don't worry if it is very fuzzy. I'm going to show you examples and also talk about the use cases for each of these product masters or product variant. That will make it more clear. Okay. Now let me go to the use case part. Okay. So these are all the use case. These are all the three different product variants which can be created in F&O. So now the first one, what I said was predefined variant. So what is the use case for this? It's a standard or fixed product variant. Okay. It is used to limit the massively produced items on an assembly line. Okay. This is ideally used for our customer where they have a high volume manufacturing, where every possible variation is predetermined. Okay. My use cases are going to be all my use cases are going to be associated with the automobile industry, as my business group is a automobile business group. So I'm giving examples using automotive use cases. So when should we use a predefined variant? It is best used when you are planning the inventory, logistics, and your showroom allocation for your customer's business, knowing that you have a predictable stocking units. Okay. So if your customers have 100 showrooms across US, and you have a predictable forecast, you have a prediction for an year, and you know that each showroom is going to sell at least 100 to 150 of this specific variant. For example, my central US customers are very particular about red cars. So now what happens? The car is the same, but the color is different. Now the color becomes a variant. Now I can create 150 cars on an average per month to ensure that it is in stock and it is available for the customer when they are in need of it. Okay. So all these colors, red cars, are all predetermined. I cannot on the fly create a different color. So the colors are all predetermined here, predefined. That's why it is called a predefined variant. Either the color, the size, the style are all examples of a predefined variant. Now let me give a specific example now here on a two-wheeler. So a City Volt 300 model of a scooter can have a matrix of different colors and different battery capacity. So these are two different dimensions here. One is the color and the other is the battery capacity. Okay. Now look at it. The colors are black, pearl, white, and red. Whereas the same scooter can have a different battery capacities. One is 2.5 kilowatt hours, the other one is 3.5 kilowatt. So depending on the movement of my scooter and the choice of battery capacity by our customers, I can choose the permutation combinations and then decide to keep the necessary stock for the sales person to ensure that they're all in stock when they come across the sales process. Okay, so all these permutations and are predefined. For example, color black, battery capacity 2.5 kilowatt hours, color black, battery capacity 3.5 K, and color pearl white, battery capacity 2.5 K, and color pearl white, battery capacity 3.5 K watt hours are all predetermined. Each of them will be created as a product variant with a different SKU. So that's the usage of predefined variant. And when does it get used in a F&O transaction? This is used when you actually select a product variant in a purchase order line or a sales order line. Okay, or not necessarily in purchase order line. Probably you will be also be purchasing, manufacturing it. In that case, you can use it in your manufacturing order. Okay, but predominantly it will be definitely used in a sales order line. Okay. Now let me move on to the dimension-based configuration. Okay, a dimension-based configuration is a product variant. So what is the use case for that? So this is actually used when you are creating a global BOM. Okay, a global BOM means that you have a production order requirement and you have to create a car. Okay, and you have a you're going to manufacture a car. I said I have a manufacturing unit in India. So if I'm going to create a car called Sedan Alpha, and there I have to create a BOM for that. Okay, bill of materials for that, and then I should ensure that all the different variants of my sedan car can be fitted into the global master, but I can pick and choose the relevant BOM components on a need basis. Okay, now what happens is, in this case, is that the BOM components swap out based on the selected region or variant standard. Okay, now what we don't have to do it when the pick and choose, the system automatically does. That's the beauty of dimension based configuration. Here in predefined variant, we pick and choose which color we want, okay, which battery capacity we want. But in dimension based, we don't need to pick and manually. The production order, okay, or the system process, F&O system process does it on the fly. Okay, what happens is here the system, F&O system, automatically picks the necessary BOM lines and picks it and selects it for the production scheduling and routing. So this is the difference, core difference in dimension-based configuration. Okay, to simplify, dimension-based configuration is mostly used in a production scenario. You have a global BOM. Let's say the global BOM, a car global BOM has a sedan car global BOM has 25 components, and out of that 10 are common, okay, or 15 are common for all the styles, for all the variants. The 15 are needed. The remaining 10 components can be swapped according to the model or standard I'm going to choose. Okay, so this is the advantage of using a dimension based. Why it is an advantage? Because I don't need to stock all the different variants and keep waiting for the customer to buy it, and it reduces my inventory, and it makes my planning effective. It's all part of the master planning, and the master planning will decide which variant to be produced, and according the production order will be created for those variants. So that's the advantage of using dimension based configuration. Whereas if you look at the predefined variant, you cannot have a control. You have to have those variants, predefined variants necessarily in stock. But here you can decide just in time before you actually selling it. Okay, for example, when you are planning for the month August, you can decide your product variant before 15 days, assuming that you have a 15 days lead time in manufacturing process. Okay, now let me give an example here. So let's say we have a car, a sedan alpha, and what happens is here the manufacturing process whenever we do a production order, whenever we create a production order, a pick process is initiated when the raw materials or the components have to be issued from the inventory, or we need to pick the raw materials or components from an inventory in order to move it to production floor so that it is used in the production assembly line. Okay. Now what happens is, let's say the production order is targeted for a sales region India. So if it is if the production order is targeted for Indian region, automatically now the production BOM picks the right hand global BOM. From the global BOM, the pick is done for the right hand drive steering assembly. Okay, and if the production order is targeted for US region, here what happens is the left hand drive steering assembly is picked. Even though both right hand and left hand drive assembly are part of this global BOM, but during the production order creation or during the production order scheduling, what will happen is the BOM is selected on the fly. Out of the same global BOM for the same sedan alpha, the right hand drive assembly or the left hand drive steering assembly is selected based on for which region the production order is created. Okay, so I hope it is clear when we should use dimension based configuration. So if we understand this, we can use this information to configure the required configuration technology when we create product masters for our customers. Again, the next point is, when does it get triggered? This dimension based configuration gets triggered during production order scheduling or planning. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that when it is production order scheduling, it means that it is actually the materials are selected and the routes are scheduled when it has to start. So that is where it is picked. I mean, the dimension based configuration comes into picture, and then the necessary parts or components are picked. Okay, now let's move on to the constraint based configuration. This is little advanced. Many of our customers may not be using this, but in some highly configuration based business processes where our customers may need to pick and choose the product on the fly, this constraint based configuration might be helpful. So when does it come into picture? This is used for a build to order scenario in a highly complex scenario where we do some custom luxury vehicles sale. Okay, now when this is ideal, when our customer choices are restricted and they dictate the mechanical electronic components based on some strict rules. Now how does it get implemented in F&O? We need to use a product configurator model to dynamically calculate the production BOMs and costs during the sales process. Okay, so here this is where a new feature comes into play, the product configuration model. Product configurator model, this has to be created before we start using a constraint based configuration. So we'll go through these one by one when we walk through this, when I walk through this in the F&O application. Okay. Now let me give an example. Now you have the customer the customer wants to buy a sports car. Okay, and the customer's choice is Turbo GT sports car. And what happens is this: when sales order is created, the salesman now selects a few components for that. One is that he has to ensure that he or she selects a track edition engine that is suitable for a sports car model. And then if he selects that, by default, by mandatorily, the system selects the carbon ceramic brakes. Okay, you cannot remove that. Okay, this is a mandatory. You cannot decide it. You can only choose the end product, Turbo GT, and automatically the carbon ceramic brakes get selected for your building. Okay, build to order. Okay, for the assembly line where it has to be built. And then what it does is, you look at it, one is selecting and the other one is restricting. Here it restricts the transmission selection to dual clutch automatic. Means that you cannot select any other clutch type. You have to select dual clutch type automatic for this Turbo GT sports car. So this is a restriction. You cannot remove this one. So the first one is mandatory. It will select the carbon ceramic brakes, and you cannot choose a clutch type. You have to necessarily have dual clutch type, even though your product configurator model may have dual clutch and single clutch, for example, but you cannot select that drop down list from your product configurator page. So you will see that when we actually start creating transactions based on this. Okay. Now the next point is that it also blocks. For example, when I want to buy a Turbo GT, it blocks the selection of a sunroof for my car because it is against the rule for a Turbo GT or sports car. So now look at it. One is it restricts. One is there is no choice, and the other one is there is a choice, but you cannot select it. You can have only one choice, which is finalized. For example, in the case of clutch, and the second is you cannot select this component because it is blocked, because your requirement is a sports car, and then so you cannot have a sports car and also have a sunroof. That's what it means. Okay. Now all these things are done during your sales order processing. Okay. The sales order processing is done by the sales executive. When the sales order processing is done in F&O, I'll show you the page where it is triggered, and then automatically you will be shown a page where you can choose the components as it is fitting to the Turbo GT sports car, and you can process it, okay, and finalize the sales order. So these are all the features of different configuration technologies, and all of them are categorized as different product variants. Okay, now I hope you are clear about what is a product master and what is a product variant, and what are the different different variant technologies used in F&O, and how it can be applied for our customers' business scenario. So now that we have understood the different use cases of the product masters and product variants, I will move on to the next part, that is creation of each of these product variants in F&O. However, I will start this in the next session. So please stay tuned to my channel. This is a short concept, not sharing session. I hope this was useful, and I will come back soon on the F&O walkthrough session in my next video. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. Thank you again. Bye.